You know those stories you stumble upon online, maybe late at night? The ones that just get under your skin and refuse to leave? Well, today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of just getting creeped out by one, we're going to pull it apart, piece by piece, to see what makes it so incredibly effective.
It all starts with this. Just imagine this message popping up on your screen. It's simple, but it's so chilling. You've got the unknown number, a specific time when we all feel a little more vulnerable, and a direct, terrifying warning. This isn't just a sentence, it's an immediate trap for your attention.
And that's really the big question we're diving into, isn't it? How can a story, built for our fast-paced digital world, create such a powerful feeling of fear so quickly? Well, the answer is in its brilliant structure, and we're about to break it all down.
First up, the hook. The opening of any great story is designed to do one thing: grab you and refuse to let go. But a truly great horror hook does more than that. It burrows into your brain with a question that you absolutely, desperately need answered.
So, a narrative hook is a classic literary tool, but this story gives it a very modern-day spin. By using things like late-night texts from unknown numbers, it creates a sense of dread that feels totally plausible. In just one move, it establishes the mystery. Who is this? The stakes, disappearing. And the tone, personal and incredibly creepy.
This hook is so perfect because it's built on three key ingredients. First, that specific time, 2 a.m., the witching hour. It immediately puts us on edge. Second, the impossible warning. How could a total stranger possibly know about this specific door? And third, this is the real kicker, the personal secret. The narrator confirms our deepest fear. This isn't random. The threat knows something it shouldn't.
Okay, so the hook is set. We're all in. But a good horror story knows it can't just coast on a strong opening. Now, its job is to build on that initial fear, just layering on different kinds of dread, one on top of the other, until the suspense is almost too much to handle. Let's see how this story pulls it off. This story does it beautifully with 4 distinct layers. It starts with that classic environmental unease, the creepy old house, weird warnings from the family, neighbors who won't make eye contact. Then it piles on the modern digital threat as the texts get more intense. After that, it gets personal, deepening the mystery with an unsettling history. And finally, it all leads to an impossible event where the basic rules of reality just start to crumble. And this is where that digital threat really escalates. This one message changes everything. The narrator is no longer just a passive observer watching something weird happen. Now, they're an active participant in a race against time. The threat isn't just watching anymore, it's judging. And that urgency makes the fear feel active and immediate. Now, this layer is what completely transforms the story. It stops being a random haunting. The discovery of this photo and the diary strongly suggests that this has all happened before. The horror is now personal, it's a legacy, maybe even a repeating curse. Our narrator could be doomed to repeat a history he never even knew existed. And here we are, the absolute peak of the suspense. This is the moment that just shatters any sense of safety. The phone, which was the channel for this external threat, now delivers the most terrifying message possible. That boundary between outside and inside, between safe and unsafe, has just been totally erased. The monster is already in the house. So, with the tension at an all-time high, the story unleashes its final masterstroke, the twist. And let me tell you, the best twists don't just introduce a new monster. No, they completely recontextualize everything you thought you knew, revealing that the horror was something else entirely, something far more terrifying than you could have possibly imagined. So the narrator finally opens the door. And what does he find? Not a monster, not a ghost, but his own room. An identical copy, the same layout, same furniture, even the same old mirror. Everything is exactly the same, except for one impossible, reality-shattering detail. And that is the horrifying moment of realization. He's not looking at a doppelganger or a spirit. He is looking at himself, trapped on the other side of some kind of paradoxical mirror. The person who was warning him and the person being warned, they might just be two sides of the same coin, caught in a terrible, endless loop. So the twist completely flips the script. The protagonist goes from being a victim of the horror to being a part of the horror. He's not being haunted by something. In a way, he is the haunting. The monster isn't in the house is the monster. and he's just another one of its terrible moving parts. So now we get to the end. Or is it the end? The story finishes with a cliffhanger, and while that can sometimes feel a little cheap, here it's used for something much, much more sinister. It's used to pass the curse from the story directly to us, the audience. This is done using a technique called a meta-narrative. It's when a story becomes aware that it's a story being told. And in its final moments, it breaks the fourth wall, that invisible barrier between the fiction and reality, to speak directly to you. And there it is, that final message. It's not for the narrator, it's for us. The story has just transformed from a narrative into a command. It's basically a horror chain letter. That loop we saw the narrator get trapped in, it's about to get a whole lot bigger. And this is the final, chilling implication. The story suggests that the curse isn't a ghost. The curse is simply the knowledge of its existence. By reading this story, by hearing me explain it to you, you have become the next link in the chain. The responsibility to warn someone else, to keep the loop going, is now yours. The horror has escaped the story. So I'll leave you with this final thought. This perfectly engineered piece of digital horror doesn't really end. It just transfers its core anxiety to its audience. It makes you a character. And it leaves you with a really unsettling question. How do you escape a story that needs you to keep it alive?